Welcome back to Good Moms Bad Choices. I'm Erica.
And I'm Mila.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy hump day, my people.
How's it going?
It's going amazing. I'm feeling really good. How's it going over there, my love?
I'm good. I'm feeling refreshed. I'm back in ghetto America, but I'm still in the retreat state of mind. So I'm good.
Same. Do you have actually, I have an affirmation.
Sure. Go for it.
My affirmation is, I am safe and I am secure because of me.
I am safe and I am secure because of me. We had a moment with that.
We did.
We had a moment with that in Costa Rica.
We had a lot of moments in Costa Rica. So I don't know if you guys are just joining us on this journey, but Erica and I have had some milestones recently. We had a 200th episode a couple weeks ago. We're coming up on our 4-year anniversary next week. And we recently just got hot off the plane from Costa Rica, where we hosted our first 2 retreats. And wow. Fucking wow. I really, I've had such a magical experience that exceeded my expectations so much. It's really been kind of difficult to put into words just how fucking amazing of a time we had. But one of the things that came up a lot during this time was just reminding ourselves that we have created safety and security because of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Costa Rica and
changed people's lives?
Yeah.
Including our own?
Yeah. I think we had this grand idea to have to host these trips for women, and we had an idea of what we wanted to look like, but like in all transparency, Erica and I have never either of us been to a retreat. So we kind of were like, this is what I think it should be like. And we curated all these things, but what we actually experienced was so fucking magical and witchy. I think the thing is that we knew that collectively women harness power, but I don't think we've ever experienced women harnessing power in this close contact, in this like open space, in this magical place at like one time. And I don't know if I've cried more ever in a 2-week span on a trip.
I've definitely cried more, but it was out of sorrow.
Yeah, I'm saying like tears of pure
These
joy
were
and
tears
gratitude.
of joy. I've never cried this much out of happiness ever in my life.
Yes.
Like, not even not having a baby. And I feel bad about that, but also I don't. But because I did. This was like birthing a baby that, I don't know. Like, I think that me and Mila had some idea what we were doing, and I'm actually glad we've never been to a retreat, because we were actually planning on trying to go to one before we did this, but I'm glad that we didn't, because we really had no like you said, expectation for per se. Also kind of created whatever the fuck we wanted to create, and because we didn't have a lot of expectation, we allowed space for it to just kind of manifest in the way that it was going to. Both groups, because we had 2 retreats, were totally different. And I don't know, like, so the first retreat we had like one really good friend there. Shout out to Nisha. And I actually talked to her yesterday, and I was telling her that, you know, when me and Mila were talking about retreat 1 and how we didn't really realize it, but her being there kind of offered like a sense of security for us in ways, knowing that there was someone in the room that like we knew that was gonna like have our back.
Well, you know what? Initially, I was like, I didn't think too much about it, but I was like, I thought it was going to be harder because someone we knew was going to be in the room, because she knows us. She's going to be like, bitch. But it ended up actually being like such a comfort and such a indication that things were going okay. Like if she was okay, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's going okay.
Well, she's my like most curated friend, so she has
high expectations for any
like, if
event.
Nisha likes this, then we're doing good.
Yeah. But I think that we put so much time and, you know, effort into curating this experience that every second up until the very second it began, we were like, did this. Did we get this? We had to take 6 fucking luggages to Costa Rica, and not just to Costa Rica, but to Puerto Viejo, which is 5 hours from the airport. So there was a lot of moving pieces to this event. Obviously, each week we had over 20 women, and we were just really focused on it going smoothly and everything getting there. And so I don't think we put that much thought into how it was going to play out. And there we only had less than 24 hours between each retreat, which is crazy. But we had all this angst when them getting there. We heard they arrived in San Jose, which is 5 hours away. We heard that the bus was leaving. We felt their energy getting closer. We had been on this resort by ourselves, and then they came, and then I was like, oh my God, there's people here that we don't know. Oh God, they're here. They've traveled a long distance. I hope that they're going to get everything that they expect. And one thing about Erica and I is that we talk often, and we know that people are listening, and we know that we're affecting people with our words, but this is the first time we've seen it in a tangible form this way. And it was amazing. One of the things that really set the tone for me is on the day one, everyone comes in, they get roomed. We had some fine niggas there, oiled down because it's us, and that's what we would expect and want. So we
shout out to Zach and Gilly.
Shout out to Gilly the God and Organic Zach.
We hired the finest men in Puerto to be oiled down in Lady Suite and pass out joints and light them for all the ladies upon arrival, and also give shoulder and head massages to all the ladies while we went through, some of the not rules, but just things they should know before going into their rooms and getting their roommates.
One of the biggest rules of the retreat was no apologizing. We took that from Mel. And the most beautiful thing is we took a lot of things from a lot of our experiences, a lot of our interviews, and we implemented them in this retreat, and it was fucking amazing. But after that, we had a group musical massage in the yoga shala. It was a night experience that I don't think me and Erica we had never experienced this, but Alessandra, the owner of Sonora, really reassured us that we should let this ride and just do it. And I'm really glad she did. So we all join under this open air yoga shala in the middle of the jungle that's lit by candles. And there was maybe 7 practitioners all wearing white, and a live drummer and live musicians playing. And the people came around randomly and played different instruments close to our faces, gongs on our bellies. We experienced head massages and feet rubs.
It was basically sensual musical therapy.
And as soon as it began, it started to drizzle.
Immediately.
So we all kind of rush into the yoga shala, and it's pitch black outside. You hear the noises of nature only, crickets, and all of the wildlife in the jungle. And about 20 minutes in, it just begins to pour. And for some reason, I just all the hairs on my arms stood up, because it just felt like the jungle was letting us know that they knew we were here, and they were opening their arms to us. It just felt super magical. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? It was hot, not raining at all, and then boom, pours. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as the massage ended, no rain. So that was the first indication that we were in synchronicity with nature, and this retreat was about to be more mystical than I think we had accounted for. For me, that's what I was thinking while I was laying there.
For sure. I mean, I felt the same way. I think that nature continued to show us that throughout the retreat. Being in Costa Rica and, doing this retreat, I think also we really began to understand how feminine the space is. Just that the jungle is a woman, that Mother Nature obviously is a woman, ocean, all the water around us. There was a lot of feminine energy, and I think that's why, unbeknownst to me, why I do feel so connected to Costa Rica. But now it makes more sense really understanding that, and it makes perfect sense, and it is a testament to me and Mila's alignment in all the things that we do, that is exactly the perfect place for this retreat. And it was the perfect space for this retreat, especially obviously being a women's retreat. And just knowing too, after the first retreat was over, just how important it is for women to come together, how important it is for women to really tap into that femininity in a way that feels safe, that has nothing to do with the masculine at all. And I think that theme just kept showing up even by accident, even like going to the debrief, which is like the indigenous land in Costa Rica, which was our day 3 experience?
Yeah.
And learning about their culture and how they revere the woman in their culture, which I had no idea. I just think like the sacred feminine just kept coming up over and over and over, even without us being intentional about it.
Yeah. And I think not only just the sacred feminine, but like you said, being in an environment that is very feminine. I think we submitted to the elements a lot during this retreat. And I don't think that was even very much intentional. Like, obviously we knew we're like, come to the jungle and take off your shoes. But I think that us just being in flow with the elements, with the fire, with the water, with the earth, with the ocean. Like, I think that giving women the opportunity to not only let down their guard, but to be amongst women that they could trust and feel safe with, and to be in flow with the land. There was no time, like the welcome speech was, welcome bitches, you're in the jungle and there's going to be bugs and animals and shit. Get used to it. There's no flushing shit down the toilet. Like it really, in America, we're so hustle bustle. We're so wearing shoes. We're so really wound up tightly that we forget that we are a product of our environment. We're a product of the earth, and that we kind of have to like remove all that shit to kind of get back to ourselves. And it was really that, it was a lot of naked dancing. It's a lot of skinny dipping. It was a lot of howling at the moon. That was on my request. There was a lot of just freedom. I think I never realized how much women really need a safe space to just be women without the gaze of judgment, of a man, of judgment, just to be naked and free without being like, oh, you're doing that for attention, or you just want to be naked. It was really like, oh, look at her. It was really just like, come and do whatever the fuck you want. This is the place to do it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that during our journey, Erica and I have really given each other permission to be ourselves. And that has really pushed the podcast, just being transparent and feeling safe within each other. But when we opened up that space to the women to also feel safe and just come as they were, it like magic happened. Like women collectively opening up and saying, I'm willing to be vulnerable and I'm here open. I don't know anyone else here. Something really magical happened. I think when we're open to the experiences and we just let our guards down, as women, when you're in alignment, you allow the magic to come in, and that really showed up for us in this retreat.
For sure. I think that I just want to shout out all the ladies who came out from both retreats, Retreat 1 and Retreat 2. You guys are our OG retreaters. And I fucking love them.
I fucking love every single woman.
I love all of you. And we had such an incredible time, and I'm so incredibly proud of you guys because most of you came alone, which honestly, I don't know if I would have the balls to do. Now I do, because I'm like, wow. And that's something that I've learned from them is like, wow, look at all these women that just said, fuck it, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go to the jungle. I'm going to fly into San Jose, voyage 4.5 hours into the jungle to some jungle retreat center with 2 women I've never met, maybe just listened to on the podcast. Some of them don't even listen to the podcast, just found us on Instagram searching Costa Rica, and trust that everything is going to be okay. And you guys did that, and that shit's amazing. And so I think that because they came in that way, there was a level of openness that that each woman had that maybe in any other scenario might not have happened. Like if we had a retreat or like a meetup, like in New York or something, or like a meetup somewhere in their city, like the openness wouldn't be that way. even just the idea too that you're going to be rooming with a stranger and that you're trusting us to make the best choice for you. And I think that was something that too, when we were planning this retreat, I knew that if they're coming, like these women are coming because they want to be taken care of. And I wanted to take care of them. I wanted them to not have to think too much. I wanted us to set the room up properly, really be intentional about the people that we pair them with. And honestly, I don't want to say I don't know how, but the rooming situations were so divine. And a lot of those women are real friends now. And so many women came up to me and was like, I love my fucking roommate. Oh my God, how did you know that I needed this woman? And I was like, when me and Mila were going, you should have seen our room. We had it was like making the band. We like printed out all these pictures and we're like, okay, so she's an Aquarius and she's a Gemini. Do Aquarius and Gemini? I don't know. What about Scorpio, Pisces? Yep, that's a good one.
Well, I'm a Cancer and you're a Scorpio, so they'll probably get along. I don't know. This age difference is maybe, I don't know. That'd be fun.
She looks like she would like her.
But just like we trust the process in so much of the things that we do. We trusted the process with that. And literally Spirit came through and was like, yep. And even where things got a little bit off and things had to change last minute, it still was the perfect fit.
And I think, too, it was so interesting to see how these women showed up and then how they left, because each and every one was changed in
even looked different physically.
In different ways. Like there's one woman that was there who, I don't remember how she found us, the doctor.
I think that she just found us online. I think she was looking for something.
She's she's religious, and she was actually going to come with a friend, and her friend was like, so I read the itinerary, and one of the things said like self-worship dance, and she was like, no. She's
like, that's not
going to work. And I think Mila even had a call with her. Not the friend, but had a call with her before she booked. And Mila had said, like, yeah, we're going to do some witchy shit or witchy dinner. And she's like, yeah, I probably won't be involved in the witchy dinner. And Mila was like, not witchy, like witch.
I meant like magical, like night fairy.
But it's just interesting to know, like, first of all, how certain words trigger people and make them, like, make them uncomfortable, which is good. But also, like, I think was a learning experience to us of, like, how to talk about certain things without putting a bad taste in people's mouth and letting them come in and see it for themselves so they can better understand what it means. And that person in particular, when she was kind of quiet throughout the whole retreat. But at the end of the retreat, like, to see her transformation.
Glowing.
She literally like came in like looking a little like sad, a little tired,
just like wound tightly, just like kind of observing, which is fair. Everyone's like, what the fuck am I getting myself into? But yeah, like just to see people like kind of like really blossom and open up in a way throughout the 6 days. And that's the thing I think we realized too. I don't think we realized it until it actually took place, but the entire, like, obviously it's relaxing. Obviously it's fun, but we did some real work on these retreats. And, the work that we did, I would like to say this was like an intensive therapeutic experience, because it wasn't just one day or the last day. We did work almost every day. They were workshops, and not in a way that felt like you had to do homework, but it was just like spiritual work. It was self-work. It was work of reflecting. It was work of releasing. And I hadn't realized how much women need to release. We hold so much in, we're responsible for so many people. We have so many responsibilities. We've all experienced a lot of pain. We've all experienced hurt, disappointment, loss. And there's rarely a space where you can just release that, and not have to worry about how you look or if you're doing too much or, what it feels like or, so I felt like we were given this unique opportunity to mother women and give them the tools to mother themselves. And it really was an intensive therapeutic week-long vacation. And it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I
think I know this just based on the podcast, how, I've gotten this feeling, but it really became clear, and I think I had this conversation with you a few times throughout the retreat, is that women don't trust women. And women, a lot of these women, like we get hit up all the time when we talk about like, you know, build your tribe, and women saying, I don't have a tribe in my city. Like, I don't know how to find a tribe. I don't know how to begin. I don't have my Erica to my Mila. I don't fuck with bitches.
I don't fuck with bitches.
I don't fuck
That's
with women.
drama. Yeah.
I don't fuck with women. And we had a few of those on the retreat. And I think that women need permission. First of all, women need permission, period, for some reason. I mean, not for some reason, because society makes us feel that way, but like women need permission to release. But I think women needed, the people that came on this retreat, I feel like really needed to re-instill their trust in women. And I think that that's what this retreat did for so many of the women there, was like, oh my God, there are women out here for me. Like, oh my God, there is a woman that I can trust. There is a woman that I can be vulnerable with. I'm going to let go of whoever hurt me and allow these women to be the new people in my life. I think a lot of these women too will be friends far beyond this retreat. And for those of you who don't have friends, who don't have women in your life, this is what I realize is like these type of spaces are so even more crucial for you. Like, it's so important. And I realize how important it is for females to be friends, how important it is. If you're a woman that's like, fuck bitches, I don't fuck with women, you really need to reanalyze that, because it's not serving you at all. We abso-fucking-lutely need each other.
This was a real testament of that. Like, just the power of women supporting women and empowering women, how it can shift the dynamic of everything, how you feel, how you manifest, the things you're calling in. Like, the power of the feminine in general is so fucking powerful. When it's combined in a supportive and loving way, it just exceeds it really covers you in love. It was a very spiritual experience to see these relationships blossom, to see the relationships that I made, to see, like, you know, shout out to Malia from DC. She was like, my sister told me to come. She said she got on the bus and she was like, oh no, they're going to find out I'm not earthy. I just like to smoke weed. And you know, one thing Malia said was that this experience was like, speed dating for friends. That's what she said. This was like speed dating for friends. And I felt that, because I was like, how am I going to remember all these women's names? Remember every single woman's name. And have a relationship with them, and have friendships with them, and fuck with them, and know who they are. And like, it just, even if you came in with this idea of judgment, or like, oh, I may not fuck with that person, they're from here, oh, that person's this person, that person, I'm older, that person's young. Like, you did not leave with that same attitude, because A, we checked it, but B, we continued to check it, and C, we reminded everyone that we're all here and seeking something. And it kind of really just brought everyone down to the same level, and we were just there, really open to experience shit. There was no judgment. It was not like, oh, look where she's over there doing her titties out at the pool. It was like, everybody's titties are out at the pool, and yours don't have to be, but there's nothing to be said about anyone else's titties being out. It was like truly, truly, truly a safe space. Before we went, Erica was like, how do we get women to trust women? Do we feed them fruit? Do we float them in the ocean? I was like, I don't know if we're going to float them in the ocean, Erica, or feed them fruit. They're going to think we're lesbians. But at one point during the retreat, there was another woman who I could tell during our Zoom meetings was like, oh shit, what have I gotten myself into? And there was a point, like, deep into the retreat, she was like rushing to the yoga shala to go get a massage. It was her birthday, and she's like, damn, I didn't eat. I was like, you want me to go get you fruit? She was like, yes, please. And I was like, sure. So I went and got the fruit from the kitchen, and then she was laying on her massage bed, and I was just like, you want me to feed it to you? I thought about Erica. She's like, will you? And I was just like feeding her fruit while she was laying on the bed naked, about to get a massage, and she was just smiling. And I was like, Erica was right. We needed to feed the bitches fruit. This is how you build trust.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess, yes. I wish I could say that I totally knew that.
But it was symbolic. It was symbolic of just being able to nurture a woman without it being weird or like, I think even in our regular friendship, sometimes you have friends for so long, you're like, you can't be like, cuddle me. You know what I mean? Like, when you have friendships for a long time, you almost forget to be like delicate with them. You forget to be like, it's easier to be delicate with someone you just met because I don't know what it is. Like, whereas other people, you have this hard exterior up, and so you're kind of like, I'm good, I'm cool, I don't need this. But in this space, I I really understood the assignment of women need to feel cared for. And I realized Erica and I's friendship is not run of the mill. It's not like all the time you find a friendship like this. Me and Erica are very platonically lesbian. We're always loving on each other. We're always, affirming each other. We've had the gift of recognizing it and continuing that theme and that thread throughout our relationship. And so it really gave us the opportunity to extend that to other people. And it was really beautiful. I felt the trust raise. I felt people be vulnerable. And that's what we told them when they came. Like, if you need to cry, that's fine. This is not a place to
hold back.
And in fact, none of these bitches. So
you have nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose. And I think that was the big thing. Like, everyone kind of realized, oh shit, I don't have anything to lose coming in and just letting it go, dropping all of the baggage, letting off the guards. And
I think that when me and Mila were kind of dissecting our friendship and trying to understand what we were going to contribute to this retreat, as far as we had our own workshop, our first workshop ever. And we were a bit nervous, but then I really started thinking about what are the foundation of our friendship? Like, how did we feel comfortable sharing? How did we feel vulnerable so quickly? How did we feel like, wow, I can trust this person? And it was a level of feeling cared for by one another. It was a level of I don't have shit to lose. I don't know this bitch. I'm just going to ask her whatever the fuck I feel like asking her, and she's going to answer because she doesn't have shit to lose. And I feel like that's really, I think that space, creating that space at the retreat and kind of mirroring our friendship and the progression of it really created a space for these women to be fast friends, just like we were. I think just using our friendship as the basis of how we can get these women to connect. And actually that kind of, we didn't necessarily have this whole thing wrapped up in a pretty bow. When we were in that musical massage, all of it kind of really came together for me, because I was thinking how audio has been such a crucial part of our evolution, and how, for me, music, and for everyone, I think music is it's something that is nostalgic. It's something that's comforting. It's something that tells a story. And I was thinking, what is it actually that made me feel safe enough to share some of the most intimate parts of my life with you? And a lot of that was, I didn't know you. A lot of that was you being vulnerable with me early on and not holding back gave me the space to feel like I can share that with you. And then I think a lot of that too was me I didn't realize who was listening on the podcast. I was literally talking to, and it was I was talking to an empty room essentially, because I didn't think anybody was listening. So I felt safe to do that. And because I know that I'm not as open as Mila. I'm not, that's not, and I realized that most people aren't, and so how are we going to get women that don't know each other, that came out here from came to a foreign country, are rooming with strangers, to feel vulnerable enough to just open up quickly? We only have 5 days to get these bitches to be besties. How could we bring them together? And I think in our workshop, we really were able to marry our friendship, our foundation of audio, and feeling like no one's listening, to equal vulnerability for these women. And by the end of our workshop, women were crying and sharing some of the most intimate details of their life with each other and embracing. And that really set the tone for the rest of the retreat. And I think gave women the opportunity to connect in a way that they would never. I think a lot of these women in their daily life, had they met each other, they would be haters. Some of them would hate on each other. Not to say if you're listening, you were at the retreat, I'm not calling you a hater, but I'm just saying there was a level of vulnerability and judgment that didn't exist because of where we were, because you had to surrender, because you had no choice. You couldn't just pack up and leave.
You couldn't click up with someone you're comfortable with. You were there alone, and it was damn, I could do this or I could not, but everyone's doing it, and it really wouldn't serve me not to. I think one of the things that came up during this, this initial workshop was just that it just became very clear So obviously, of course, I incorporated Mila's moans because it's super important. But it made me realize just immediately how much people needed to cry, scream. Even if we didn't know where the root of their pain was coming from, you can hear your neighbor screaming and you felt her pain. And I think that one of the first things I realized is like, we all have shit. It doesn't matter if you want to judge. We all are hurting in some way. We've all been hurt. And like that common thread of just feelings and emotions and just having to process them was I think what kind of initially cracked the shit open, because it reminded you that everybody is dealing with shit. You know, when you share with someone you don't know, and even if you wanted to judge them initially, when you are blindfolded and then just hear their true feelings, then you remember like, oh, they're human just like me. They're women just like me. And they're dealing with shit that I have no idea about. And it reminds you to kind of let your fucking ego down and kind of just come to each other, women to women.
Absolutely. And I think it's also interesting too. I mean, how different each group was, you know, like how different, you know, after we completed retreat 1, which was incredible, I fucking literally, there was a moment I went into the ocean and I fucking cried by myself for like 5 minutes because I couldn't believe that this is what I'm doing. I was like, what the fuck? This is my job. I'm in Costa Rica with 20 plus women, showing them this beautiful beach that I've been on with my best friend, with my kid. And now I'm back bringing these women here, getting paid to do it, but also like beyond getting paid, like helping them heal something, anything, whether it's the tiniest thing, and also healing myself while I'm doing it. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how did this happen? How did I do this? And then I was thinking like, well, and I know we talk about manifesting all the time, but like early on in our podcasting journey, me and Mila, I think we were looking at like different people's Instagrams and feeling like less than and like comparing ourselves. And like, I remember there's this one girl, what's her Instagram? My Epiphany. If you guys follow her, she's always traveling with her child, living the best fucking life. Amazing photos, looking bomb as fuck all the time. And I was like, how the fuck do I do this? How the fuck do I travel and like do cool shit and get paid? And I was like, I really want to do this. We want to do this. How do I do this? And then I kind of like left it behind in the back of my mind. But like, that's the thing about manifesting. It's like, yes, it's intentional and stuff, but sometimes it's like you saying it out loud, planting the seed in your subconscious and letting your conscious work on it, whether or not you even realize you're actually working towards that. And then I realized when I was in that water, I was like, oh my God, like I did it. How the fuck did I do it? I did it. On my own terms though. Like I'm doing it on my own terms. And I just couldn't believe it. And then seeing retreat 1 happen and then seeing retreat 2 happen, you know, it was totally two different groups of women. Like retreat 1, a lot of healing happened, a lot of fun happened. Retreat 2, a lot of work was being done. A lot of healing work had to be done. This group was heavier emotionally.
Mm-hmm. They were holding on to more things. And, you know, I think like Erica and I, we know, like, we're aware of our power in some ways, but like, we talk on the mic and then it's out in the ether and we go home, you know, and of course we get like DMs, we read the reviews, but there was a point on the retreat and we were talking, so shout out to Jessie for coming and coming with the shits, but we're like, one of our friends, also divine fucking alignment, just happened to be in Costa Rica finishing another retreat the day that the second group came, jumped on the bus with them, just took a whim, came impromptu to the retreat and really set shit off. I think we really needed her. I don't think, again, Erica and I knew what we were doing, but I don't think we recognized the amount of work that was going to be being done and how much space we were going to be holding. And at one point we were talking like, oh yeah, she was on the show, to the girls. Some of the girls had never even listened to the show, but I remember 2 girls saying like, oh yeah, I remember I was in the supermarket. And another girl saying, oh yeah, I do remember this episode. I was at work. And it just dawned on me like, wow, like every week we do these things and they're being received in real time with real people all over the world. And it just really put in perspective how much our words have helped people, how much like our words are being received by women. And I don't know, there was just a real wave for me of understanding of my own power. And like, I'm a friendly bitch, you know, I say this all the time, and I do a lot of talking and a lot of like, I'm very empathetic. And sometimes, you know, growing up, I'm like, bitch, you've got to stop loving everyone. But in this work, it really made me realize like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where the empathy and the love and the connection, my deep connections with everybody actually make sense. I've been preparing for this moment. I've been preparing to love on women. I've been preparing to cultivate sisterhoods. I've been preparing to project my gifts in this way. And it was just so deeply like, it felt like I know we've been doing this shit for 4 years, but it felt like, oh, like it all kind of like came together. It made sense, you know, like this is the work that you've been doing. As sometimes we're talking our shit, talking about our sex, and it just seems like funny and a joke, and it is, but there's been real work done to arrive at this point. And when you see it cultivate amongst a group of women that are coming from all different places, it really makes a difference. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I am a healer, you know? Oh shit, I do have this power to open up, and in turn, other people will open up too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, I think it definitely affirmed that for me as well, like what my powers are and what I can contribute to this world and what I've already contributed, and that I don't have to worry. And to go back to your affirmation about like, I am safe because of me, I think that this retreat was a testament to that being able to complete it, being able to execute it, being able to just do it overall. And it had nothing to do with anybody else, had nothing to do with a man. It had nothing to do with, you know, anyone doing us any favors. And that people came, it was like you put out the call and people come. And it just reaffirmed that we can do anything.
Honestly,
we can do anything, and that we do have a great responsibility, because people do listen. People are listening. People are listening weekly, whether it's funny or not. Like, it's affecting them in one way or another, good or bad, hopefully only good. And it's a responsibility that I happily take on. It's a responsibility that I love and accept.
It felt like the universe was saying, you know, we've been talking about there being an awakening of of women in this time. We've talked about this a lot. We talked about there being an attack on free women, that there's being an awakening of women, that there's something happening where a lot of women are coming together. And this was just like, I felt the call be put out, and it was like, we need to reestablish the sacred feminine. And here you go.
That and that for sure. Also, and reaffirming the sacred feminine, how masculine we are as women, how we've taken on so much masculine energy because we have had to, especially mothers, especially single mothers who, you know, have to figure it out even more so in ways, and have to, you know, just take on a lot of the responsibility that is masculine, and, you know, that independent woman per se, that really, and even we were having this conversation with this woman that we met towards the end of our trip, and she was saying how women have forgotten to, and it made me think of Daphne and the soft woman. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's called The Soft Woman, featuring Daphne Waynes. Most of you hated that episode because she basically was saying how there needs to be a return of a softer side of women, that we need to not essentially submit to our man, but like be softer for our man. And at that time, I really did not agree. Now, looking back 2 years later, and seeing where we're at, even in feminism, how feminism itself has a lot of masculine energy in it. And the woman that was talking to in Costa Rica, she was saying how the feminist movement has been very detrimental to the sacred feminine, because it has removed a lot of femininity and made us have to move into this more masculine space where we have to prove our femininity and be aggressive and fight the good fight, and left this space of like real true femininity empty, and like looking down on the woman who, you know, is happily wants to just be a mother. And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of like being super masculine. I feel like I hear it all the time too from men that I emasculate them. And I probably do. Because I've had to take on so many roles, and my patience is thin. I don't have the time. Even if I do, I don't want to take the time. And just reaffirming that, or reminding me that it's okay. It's okay to just be feminine. It's okay to, you know, just really tap into just that. And that me being an independent woman doesn't mean that I have to take on this role of I got to handle everything by myself. I got to do it all by myself. I got to carry all this shit by myself. Still, it's a balancing act, because like now I'm back, I'm back into the swing of things. I'm back to the reality of life. I'm back to the reality that, yep, I'm a single mom still here being single. And like, how do I balance this newfound femininity with the reality of my life? And that is that I am playing many roles. I am also playing the role of father, and at times with my daughter. And not to diminish her father's role, but like, yeah, like I am taking on that role sometimes. And how do I balance that with me wanting to feel feminine all the time?
And then something like really magical. I don't know, magical. I think when you are making space for things, when you're encouraging women to let go of things and peel back layers, and, you know, we had a manifestation dinner, and like asking to call in the things that you want, and asking women to kind of come to terms with the things that they've been holding on to, they need to let go of. I think a lot of times in our daily lives, we are holding on to stuff and just doing. We're not even recognizing that it's layering the hardness on. It's just pasting it on more and more, because we're just in survival mode. You know, you have to get shit done. You have to feed the kids. You have to wash clothes. It's just like every day happens. You forget about yourself. You forget that you've put all these heavy things on you. And, you know, in week 1, probably by like day 3, women started to get sick. And I became extremely scared. I was like, oh my God, bitches are getting sick. And the weird thing was, we all were eating the same meals, and people were in different rooms getting sick. It just wasn't making sense. And I was like, I don't want anyone to be sick.
We were when she says sick, I'm throwing up,
like projectile throwing up, diarrhea. Like it became like a lot of people were getting sick, and then they'd be fine. So at one point, Alondra, shout out to the Island Bruja, she was doing tarot readings, and she said to me, you know, I realize people are getting sick. I want you to know you guys are doing a lot of work. And when you manifest things, you have to get rid of things, and it will come out physically. And it dawned on me like, I never thought about this emotional work manifesting physically. So I was like, okay. And it actually was the only thing I could make sense of. It was nothing else was making sense. I was like, oh my God, I hope nobody got COVID. You know, like we're in this weird ass times. If anyone gets sick, it's the end of the world. I'm like, I hope it's not the food. And it wasn't. It was literally people were purging. And because of the work we were doing, it was coming out physically. You know, when you come into a space and you're just cracked open immediately and you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to release these things I've been holding on for years and months, your body is almost in shock by it. You know, when you've let things add up and lie dormant in your body and your emotions, it will come up in your physical. And like I said, it was a very intensive 6 days, and it wasn't like we were doing light work. We dug right the fuck in immediately. We didn't have a lot of time. And, whereas Erica and I have had the opportunity to kind of gradually tell our story, gradually come to terms with things, gradually release things. Every week we've gradually said, okay, now I feel more comfortable. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to say this. But we kind of just like cracked it open immediately. And, by the last day, everybody was fine. Everybody was in great spirits. Everybody was healthy.
But you know what? It's even when they weren't fine, like, it was almost like I was worried that people were going to start flipping out. Like, I need to go to the hospital. No one said that. It's almost like everyone knew, regardless of whether they were aware of it, that that they had to kind of let it pass, and that they had to just be cool with it, and that they had to surrender. And there was even one girl that she was like, when I was throwing up and I couldn't stop throwing up
at 5 a.m. At
5 a.m, and something in me just said surrender.
She said, no, they said, let it go.
Let it go. And then when she did, the next morning she was fine. And so, and multiple people too that are from Costa Rica were like, yeah, when you come to this land, be prepared to get sick.
For you to have to let shit go. This land doesn't let you
hold on to shit. And top of it, if you are one of those women that are holding on to a lot of masculine energy, all this feminine energy will purge the fuck out of you. And that's what I witnessed in both groups. Both groups experienced this. And it was really amazing to see. It was really amazing to see each other, like roommates, support one another and help each other. I think that also gave, first of all, made people very vulnerable and allowed other women to support women through it. So not only, breaking down barriers with our workshop and all the work that was being done, but allowing the women to come together and support one another through those type of things, I think was really important.
And then, of course, I don't think even Erica and I were aware that it was going to manifest that way in like illness. Obviously, that's not what we were wanting, but that's how shit happens. And then week 2 came, and guess what? After the first workshop, same thing. Mm-hmm. They just started getting sick. And at that point, we kind of knew what to expect. And we kind of told them, like, don't worry, but this is what happened last week. And it's to purge and kind of be aware that you have to let it go. Don't hold on to it. And it just was a continuous thread. And the same thing, by the last 2 days, everybody was fine. And it was like kind of like eerie, but like it was a testament that like, yes, we were doing work, and if you're not down with doing the work, you're not going to get what you came to get. It was fun, and it was play, but it was also like time to come in and go back different.
Speaking of going back different, I'm so interesting too. So interesting too is one of the women that came week 2. She has a new baby and she's married, and she was saying how basically like sex has been off the table for a while, and that being in this space with all this feminine energy, and allowing herself to kind of just like be vulnerable and break down had kind of reactivated her sex drive. And she was sharing with us like at dinner, which is, I love this. I love that like we created a space where like women can like be really excited to share certain things. And like we're at dinner and she's like, you guys, guess what? I masturbated yesterday and I came. And I was like, well, where did you masturbate? Because you have a roommate. She's like outside looking up at the stars. It was fucking amazing. And then a few days ago in our Slack group, because we have our dedicated Slack groups for each retreat, and Valentine's Day had just passed, and she was saying, oh my God, I just had the most amazing, I think I shared this with you guys, is that like my sex drive had been really low up until this retreat, and I just couldn't wait to get back to my husband. And going back, Jessie, shout out to Jessie, who we talked about a second ago. Her Instagram is Sweet Love Sanctuary. Make sure you guys follow her. Gave her kind of a ritual to do with her husband, or do with your lover on Valentine's Day. And she was saying how she got in the bath with her husband. They poured honey all over each other, spoke positive affirmations to one another about their sex life, about their kid, about their financials, and they had the most amazing 2-hour sex experience that they've ever had. And I thought, wow, isn't that amazing how feminine energy activated her sex drive? It wasn't about the masculine energy. It was something about being in nature with a bunch of women. And I want to be clear, it wasn't like we were over there having orgies and shit. It was very platonic.
It was very not lesbian.
No.
It was not, none of this was taking place.
But that was what she needed in order to kind of open up herself in that way and feel connected to herself that way. She was saying how her body for so long didn't feel like her own because she was still breastfeeding, and that she didn't feel sexual. But being out there and tapping into herself, she's one of the people that I just loved watching her journey from the beginning to end, and her transformation was so beautiful, and just knowing that we just need each other.
We really do.
We really just need each other. I mean, yes, men, you guys are so important. I'm not downplaying the role of a man and how important they are. Y'all are the sprinkles on top of our sundae. But the foundation and like the meat of who we are and where we feel safest is with one another. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to witness that in real time, because I think even I needed to witness that. And I just can't wait to do it again.
I really can't. I feel fucking activated as fuck. I feel like I needed that. I feel like I needed to meet every single woman. I feel like I'm coming back with like 43 new friends. I'm feeling humbled and just humbled, just in the magic that we were able to cultivate together. At one point, we had a lot of ceremonies. We had a lot of altars. We called in a lot of our ancestors. Like I said, we just really worked with the elements and with ourselves. And I'm so grateful for the women like coming in open that way. At one point, we did a morning. Every week was different. What happened week 1 didn't happen week 2. Even the itinerary had to change slightly. And there was a point where we did a 7 a.m. ceremony with Sylvia, and shout out to Sylvia, who also did our natal chart. We have an episode with her, but we were doing a release, I believe, and someone said, I felt my grandmother on my left side. And then someone else said, yeah, I felt like my grandmother telling me to just laugh. And I didn't laugh. I don't know why I didn't. I felt like it was an inappropriate time. But I was just like, in what other space would we be able to be like, oh, I felt I felt my ancestors on my right side. It told me to laugh. We really created this safe space. Like, I think sometimes we're so busy that we forget that the mystic is our communication with God. It is nature. There are these signs. Nothing is really just a coincidence. Most things are intentional. And if you open yourself up and ask to get answers, 9 times out of 10, the universe is going to deliver to you. Now, it's different if you're going to be receptive enough to take them and understand them. But it really warmed my heart that there were women who are willing to, speak on these testimonies and saying, this is how I'm feeling. And this is what I needed to release. And this is like, actually, I felt my grandmother tell me this. I was throwing up and I felt spirit tell me, let go. I don't think we are put in enough friendships and enough situations where we can be transparent in that way, because it sounds, it's like white people shit, Like, oh, if you scream and yell and moan, and jump up and down, that's white people shit. Oh, you're fucking kumbayaing naked around the pool, that's white people shit. But it's like, no, bitch, it's human people shit, and we all need to do it. And we're so caught up in being, whatever,
how we look,
and like having our guards up, that sometimes things will be clear and we'll ignore them because it doesn't make sense. No one's going to understand that. I'm not going to be like this, that, but most of the times, those are the voices you need to listen to. Those are the signs you need to listen to. And I was just grateful to have women, despite religion, despite background, whatever, they were all coming open to tap into themselves. This was a group experience and we did a lot of collective healing, but the tapping into yourself was really what we were pushing. Like, it was really about the work you're doing with you. And obviously the support of each other just helped because we're all doing the same work together. But I was just extremely grateful that we were all open to kind of understanding that answers and God come in many forms. And that could be through ancestors, that could be through dance, that could be through laughing so hard, that could be through moaning, that could be through screaming, literally there's a point like we were just doing cartwheels naked in the grass. It was just like an opportunity to be childlike and just not give a fuck and just be giggly, and everything was funny, and like we were smoking weed, and it was just like there was nothing to be afraid of because there was no predators, there was no men, it was an absolute safe space to just be like,
I feel like I want to twerk and I don't give a fuck, and no one's gonna come behind me and try to like dance with me. Like you forget how like that right there, like that concept when Alondra did a workshop where we were moving our bodies and just having fun and dancing. Like I forgot how much we don't get to just be our sensual selves in public without feeling attacked, feeling the male gaze, feeling like we have to be a certain way to be appealing to someone else instead of just, I want to fucking move my body just like this because this is how the fuck I feel like it, And like one of the women from Retreat 1 was like, I haven't moved. I realized when I was in that workshop, like I felt like I got the Holy Ghost is what she said. And she was like, I haven't moved my body in that way in so long. And yeah, there's just so many amazing moments that it would take 4 episodes to really just dig all the way in.
And I don't even know if that's possible. You really just have to
come.
Be there.
You just kind of have to come. You're gonna have to come.
But like I was in tears, like at the departure of every group. I was just in an overwhelmed gratitude the entire time because I just felt like, I don't know, not like finally the podcast made sense, but finally like it did. It was just like came together. I was like, oh, this is what we've been doing. Oh, like getting women to trust each other, getting women to trust themselves, getting women to come as they are. Like it really finally made sense to me. Like I feel I come back into this space so fucking activated. Nobody can tell me shit. Like as I'm giving women advice to release shit, I'm also like, bitch, you too. You need to release those niggas that don't serve you. You need to release that. If someone's opinion of you is not like the opinion of yourself, fuck them. Let them go. I think it was just a really true testament to how you are enough. We are enough as we are. And there really doesn't have to be, there's just not a lot of extra to it. You are the fuck enough. And I think reminding women of that kind of reminded me of that, like, damn, you believed me and you came here and now I'm believing myself and I'm leading this workshop and women are just like, I saw you on the internet. I saw you on Instagram being so sensual and sexual and free. Like it made me want to come on the retreat. I was like, really? I thought about posting that picture like 15 times before I did it. But just knowing that we're all so deeply intertwined and like we're all here to serve each other and heal each other. And like I know everyone on Instagram is like putting healer in their bio, but women truly actually are healers. We are healers of one another, and like that's that mama pacha. Like that's our sacred gift. We heal, and we actually have the power to heal ourselves and each other if we just allow ourselves to surrender to what that looks like or doesn't look like. This was a very untraditional retreat. If you've been on a retreat, it wasn't like that retreat. This retreat was different. It came with niggas, oiled up, came with blunts, it came with screaming and crying and Mila moaning. It came with, it just came with a lot of different elements that I don't think we realized was going to cultivate this amazing.
It came with like real sisterhood. It came with like, you left with friends. If you don't have friends, come on this motherfucking retreat. You will have friends by the end. It's just like inevitable. There's no choice. You have no choice.
I know. I'm like planning a trip in Slack right now. Like we're going to hedonism. But yeah, I'm extremely proud of this work that we're doing. I'm extremely proud of us. I'm extremely proud of every single woman who came out. I'm so proud of all of the healers and women who contributed their time and space to these women. It showed like we put a lot of work into this, and now we're doing another one. And I'm looking forward to that because I know just the power of this shit, the power of purging, the power of stepping into your shit, the power of saying yes. And yeah, it was fucking mystical, magical shit happened on this trip. Like on some real shit every day. Every single day I had goosebumps of, wow, this shit is intentional and divine, and I'll never forget it. I definitely feel like it was life-changing for me.
It was for me too, for sure. I came back and I can't, part of that old part of me is dead, and there's like a new rebirth that happened out there that I'm carrying with me here.
Yeah, which is funny because you pulled a card before we started, my dear, because we never forget to do our tarot time. And the card that you pulled was the Knight of Swords, and it's about being ambitious, action oriented, driven to succeed, and fast thinking. And basically, it's as with all knights of the tarot deck, the Knight of Swords is a man or woman on a mission. Once he has his mind set on something, nothing is stopping him. As a sword card, this knight actively uses the power of his intellect to achieve his goals. When the Knight of Swords appears in a tarot reading, it is a sign that you are highly driven, ambitious, and action-oriented. You are so highly motivated to succeed that you will stop at nothing to pursue your dreams. The challenges, difficulties, and obstacles on the path ahead don't faze you because you know where you want to go. Move forward with sheer strength and determination to make things happen. It suggests that you are quick to take action and tend not to plan ahead, instead preferring to dive right in, thrive on high levels of energy, and propel you forward and inspire you to take action to manifest your goals. So I do feel like we've been driving really fast in a direction and going really hard and knowing that the work was important, but this retreat solidified how important the work is, how important the mending of female relationship is, how important the mending of self and release. And yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel driven. I feel more driven than ever to, accomplish my goals, to keep moving towards my own personal healing and being able to facilitate that for other women. A lot of me and Mila's work is our own self-work that we, bring you out on our journey of healing and hope that, it works for you too. And I think that the retreat was kind of a manifestation of that. And I just know that I can't stop here. I can't stop now. Can't stop.
I know. I really was feeling like goddess energy. I mean, like, not only did we pay two men to just like look sexy and like serve women, which made me feel really powerful. I was like, wow, I made this happen. I'm a badass bitch. We even bought them like matching shorts from Riot. Shout out to Riot Swim, who's sponsored the Good Vibe Retreat. But I was like, I like the idea of telling men what to do and telling them to serve us. I felt like that's a part of the sacred feminine that we forget, that like, you're here to serve us. It's true. We're here to serve each other, but it has to first go both ways. So like after the retreat, me and Erica had been around a lot of women for many, 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 many days and slept in a bed for like 2 weeks together. So we were kind of like our fangs maybe came out a little bit. And this, yeah. So
we have an epic hoary that we're going to save for Patreon.
Yeah, we have an epic Valentine's Day hoary when we were really channeling our inner goddess energy, and we decided that we were going to get what we wanted.
And we did. We fucking did, okay?
Even if we had to share it, we were going to make it happen. So make sure you tune into Patreon to get that story. I don't think that everyone needs to hear that story. So we're going to save that for the Patreon. It's pretty fucking good.
It's really good.
It's pretty fucking epic.
We're rock stars.
We are. Definitely rock stars. Definitely women who get what we want in all areas of life. And I encourage every woman listening to do the same. If you've been thinking about going to Costa Rica, going on a retreat, going to make some friends, I think that you found your place. The Good Vibe Retreat is the bomb. And it does all of the things. It itches all of the scratches, my friends.
For sure. Make sure you go follow our retreat page at the Good Vibe Retreat so that you can be the first to know when our next retreat is because we've already planned it.
It's this year, so don't fret. You don't have to wait till next year. We're doing it this year. We're doing it twice. We're doing it again. And it's going to be amazing, just like it was this time. But so thank you. Thank you, Erica, for joining me on this journey.
Thank you, bestie.
This has been the motherfucking shit.
It really has. It has. I'm super grateful and super activated and super excited. Yeah. We're going to New York next week.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're there,
Holler
at your girls. I don't have anything else to say.
Well, that's it. Leave a rate and review. If you'd like to see what we look like and you don't know, go to Instagram and go to goodmoms_bad_choices. Please rate and review this episode. It means so much to us. You get this shit free anyway. That's the least you could do.
You can also watch this episode on YouTube. We release all of our YouTube videos on Thursdays. Our episodes come out Wednesdays. YouTube's on Thursdays. Also, do you see this hat I'm wearing? Sure you do, because you're watching on YouTube. This is our cozy bucket hat. Make sure you check it out on our merch store at goodmomsbadchoices.com. I don't know if you know, but our merch store is pretty fucking lit.
We're kind of popping over there. We're making a lot of merch. I don't know if you know, you need to know, but there's a lot of drops monthly, weekly. We have a lot of shit coming, and we have a lot of cute shit for the kids. It's really cute.
Too. It ain't no bullshit. We don't make that bullshit podcasting merch. I know some of y'all see them merches with a bunch of niggas' faces on it. That's not it. We're making shit that you actually want to wear in your everyday life because that's how we do it. But yeah, make sure you go check us out on Patreon so you can listen to our Valentine's Day Costa Rican Hori. That's patreon.com/goodmomsbadchoices. And you actually have to put that in your browser because we're considered explicit on Patreon, so you can't search us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, goodmom_badgirl. And that's it.
Bye.
Bye.